This is our finished product. Pecan, grana padano, olive oil, lemon juice, and a little bit of garlic. Today we're going to talk about Italian food and the evolution thereof. If you have grandparents from Italy and you live in the US, you're eating American Italian food. If they came from Italy and you're in Australia, you're eating Australian Italian food. There's German Italian, there's English Italian, there's probably even Thai Italian. Italian immigrants went all over the world. Many of those immigrants were poor. When they got to those new worlds, they started to create a whole fantasy of food, the way that they believed the richer Italians were eating. So in the United States, that evolution was extraordinary. Poor Sicilian grandmothers made what they imagined bolognese would be for a rich person. And instead of a little bit of chopped veal and a little bit of milk, they had a lot of tomatoes and they had a lot of meat, and it became red gravy. And if you go to the Northeast United States, you see incredible examples of the abundance that the New World had to offer these immigrants. That food is wonderful in its own right, but it's not Italian. When you go to Italy, you will find that the food is very local, very much of the city or part of the country that it's in, and has very little to do with American Italian food. One of the biggest mistakes people in the US and other countries outside of Italy make, they overcook the pasta. And they don't pay honor to their grandparents by letting the world know how vivid and wonderful their imaginations were and what creative chefs they were. One of the saddest things I ever saw was a man from New Jersey in a restaurant in Sicily demanding of the waiter that he get spaghetti with spaghetti sauce and meatballs. In Sicily, of course, there's no such thing as spaghetti sauce. Spaghetti sauce is whatever sauce you put on spaghetti, and they were doing it with a lemon sauce, the spaghetti that they had. I finally intervened and got him an order of pasta that was boiled and not sauced, polpette, which are the meatballs there, cheese on the side, extra sauce on the side, and he made his own bowl of pasta that still wasn't as good as his grandmother's. You have to realize that much of what is eaten outside of Italy is not at all Italian, and no Italian stands by the stove with a bag of sugar throwing it into tomato sauces. That habit came about because of the inferiority of canned tomatoes in the United States and the large amounts of citric acid that were added to them. When the tomatoes tasted sour, they added sugar to combat that. There's good canned tomatoes now. There's absolutely no reason to add sugar to a tomato sauce. But today, we're not going to do a tomato sauce. We're not even going to do an Italian recipe, because Italian recipes are very categorized. You add cream, it's not carbonara. You add this, it's not that. We're going to do Italian home cooking. And what do the Italian home cooks do? They do exactly what your immigrant grandparents do. They look around and they say, this is what I have, so this is what I make. Let's go to the garden and see what we have. Right now, I have an abundance of parsley. So let's take a little parsley. I also have really beautiful basil. If you look, you can see anywhere there's a 2 stem or a 4 stem, these little things, you can cut the basil there and it will come back and branch out even more than it has at the beginning. In Italy, pesto means paste. Anything that was ground together with a mortar and pestle is pesto. There are hundreds of varieties of pesto, but the most common you will find in any Italian home is whatever you have in the house. I have garlic, pecans, grana padano cheese. Garlic is used to accent the flavor, not to overwhelm the pesto. Let's take a little bit of this. We have a little lemon juice. That keeps the color bright. We have the mixture of basil and parsley. And a little olive oil. I made a mess, but I hope you will too, because making a mess is enjoyable. It's a simple Just putting this down because I don't have to do a mortar and pestle any longer. Making it fit correctly. This is our finished product. Pecan, grana padano, olive oil, lemon juice, and a little bit of garlic. Wait until your water is boiling before you add the salt. If you add salt too early, it delays the boiling process. I cooked this spaghetti 4 minutes less than the directions say to do it because anything else would not be al dente. It would be American mush. I'm going to stir the pesto in and add just a little bit of reserved pasta water as we need it to make it sort of a perfect amalgam. And it melts the cheese, sticks to the pasta. I wish we had a smell-o-vision camera. All right, just maybe a little more. There we go, ready to eat. So the basis of Italian home cooking in Italy, and maybe your home in the future, is to look to see what you have and make what you know. Anything can be a pesto, anything can be a sauce, anything can be a pasta. Enjoy. I wish I could share this with all of you. Bye-bye.